I was about CBT. 'Cause I know you're a CBT practitioner. And CPT, uh, I know that they gear away from telling people what's wrong with them. Instead of they ask them questions to allow them to see the wrongness in themselves. Right. This is one of the approaches in CPT.
So I'm not a CBT practitioner. I utilize their techniques.
Mm.
Um, so with CBT, what they basically they um I'm more eclectic, so I don't want to really speak to strict CBT. That's what I lean more towards when
Mm.
it comes to counseling. So I look at the behaviors, I look at the cognitions that influence the behaviors, and I see how they can change it. So, like
Because in that approach, you can't be upfront sometimes. Like, for example, I noticed myself from being involved in dawah. If I tell what I'm associate with, somebody I don't know or do know, I say, brother, that's haram. Or I give them some advice, religious advice. I have one of my friends, right? I hope you see this video, right? So I told him one day, I'm like, he was asking me for something, money. He was away studying or something like that. And I said straight up to him, something in the way I think, once you come back and get a job for 6 months, ain't nobody gonna take care of you. You grown man right now. Once you get a job, that stuff you away learning, you using this for excuse for like what 5 years now, no degree. People gonna figure out you got no degree. You've been there for 5 years. You need to go get a job. Man, mad, upset, right? That was a four, and I'm being upfront with him. But if I turn around, if I look at some of the approaches with CBT, I will ask in a different way. For example, make him think for himself. Would it be better? Is another way you could do what you need to do to get what you need? Think of another way, or give me example on how you could get this. You know, are these a better questions for communicating with people's? Because sometimes the being forward for some people, man, I have a lot of people mad with me because I'm be forward with them, and I be have a straight face. I'm not yelling, not screaming, but a lot of people don't want to hear the up forward things. Is it better to use those approaches?
it depends on a person.
My
Um,
friend is hard headed. He's hard headed.
yeah,
He ain't
so
speak to
hard
me like
headed
for
people,
2 years now.
yeah,
He's
so
so
yeah, hard
hard.
headed people's CBT approaches will work better because it makes them feel like that they came up with the idea. Somebody like me using CBT approaches don't work.
You
And the
need
reason,
DBT. You
huh,
need DBT, right?
no, I don't need DBT. Just say what you gotta say, because
So
yeah, just say it, like just say it. Because when people have an ulterior motives and are trying to get me to think of something on my own, again, I told you, I think because I've been a therapist for way too long, I don't come with assumptions about what you're trying to tell me. So when you asking me a question where you're trying to get me to somewhere that you want me to go, I'm gonna be like, I have no idea where you're trying to go. Like, just say it. And then if you say it and I agree with you, then I'm like, oh, I agree. And if I agree with part of it, I might say, I agree with this part, but I don't agree with this part because this is for me. And then it's other, like, because I'm in therapy now and I'm about to change my therapist because she keep trying to do motivational interviewing on me, and I'm just like, stop. Can you stop doing it? What are you trying to tell me? Just say what you're trying to tell me. I'm not the type of person that's a follower, and if you give me good advice and I agree with you, I'm going to do the good advice, and I'm not going to blame you if it fails, because that's the fear that therapists have, is that if I do give you advice and you take the advice and the advice doesn't work for you for whatever reason, you have an out to blame me that it didn't work, even though you had the choice to do it. I'm not like that. Just say what you guys said. And I used to tell her that all the time. Like, you please stop asking me those questions. And I had told her, I said, you ask me questions that are irrelevant. And she looking at me like, what? But again, somebody else, they will be upset that I said that. Like, but it's the truth. You're asking me irrelevant questions that have nothing to do with nothing. And I think I'm a little bit harder on it because I'm a therapist too, so it makes it worse. But the point that I'm trying to make is, you have to learn people's temperament and know the way they think. And the only way to do that is you got to test the waters and see how they respond to stuff when you ask them questions. And that also goes into really listening to what a person say, because as a therapist, I listen to what people say and what they don't say. And I know people always be like, how the heck you listen to what people don't say also? Because if I have a person who we're talking about family of origin and I'm growing up, I've had people, they'll talk about their whole family.
Mm.
By the end of it, they never said one thing about their father or one thing about their mother or their sibling
Got
or whatever. That's interesting, because I don't care about what you said. Now I'm more interested about why did you leave that out?
mm.
Because it's something there that you may not even realize that you avoided, or you may be intentional. I don't know. But guess what? Now I'm curious. Hey, I
Mm.
noticed that you talked about all this, but you never said nothing about your dad. Or remember when you told me that your mom, like I had one client where she was like, she in drug and alcohol treatment and said, I had a great mother. She gave me everything that I've always wanted. I was like, she was just an amazing mom. You know, she just drank alcohol.
Mm.
Now, the part that so everybody heard that, but what people don't hear is, if she was drinking alcohol, how was she really a good parent? Because now I'm curious. So, what kind of alcoholic was she? Did she drink so much that everybody knew that she was an alcoholic? Or was she just an alcoholic that she might drink once or twice on the weekends or something like that? Like, can you tell? Oh, everybody knew she was a drunk. I said, so if everybody knew she was a drunk, she was always drunk. She gave you everything that you need materialistically. That's what you said. So who was there for you emotionally? Because now I need to know emotionally who was there for you. She's like, well, uh, was she? Well, no, not really, because she was always passed out. Oh, she was always passed out. So she emotionally neglected you. Well, yeah. To her, the whole situation of how happy she was to have this mom when she was neglected.
Mm.
But
So
that's
basically, I was going to say basically dysfunctions prevent people having good relationships and communication skills.
absolutely, absolutely. You have to talk to, it starts with kids. You have to talk to your kids. And even if you're punishing them, I know people will say that's the weirdest thing ever, but I always used to ask my kids, like, why are you in trouble? What did you do that made you in trouble? Why do you think that I'm upset about what you did? Like, I make them really think about all of the things that happen, because, again, it helps them to make decisions. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I question them about everything, and then I enforce the punishment, whatever the punishment is. Or if it's a natural consequence, I'll be like, so why do you think that that happened after you did X, Y, and Z? You didn't do your homework and you got an F. Why do you think that happens? Well, because I didn't put forth the effort to do. I make them talk it out. And even as they're talking about friends or something like that, like I had my oldest son one time came home and was like, oh my God, mom, this girl in my class, she gets on my nerves. She's so annoying. She keep making this noise. I said, she's annoying. Why is she annoying you? Oh, because like the noise is just, it just annoys me. Like I said, so she's not, so you not accepting her for who she is? Because no, it was like that's how she laughed. And I said, so you're not accepting her for the way her voice sounds? I was like, could she really help that her laugh is like that? And he like, well, no, no, not really. Like, that's just the way her voice sounds. And I'm like, so you're judging her based off of something that's out of her control. Is that fair to her?
Mm.
Because when you do stuff like that, it makes people really think that you should be more accepting of people's differences.
Mm.
But then also too, like, hey, well, I don't like being touched like that. My friends know that. And I have friends that's touchy feely. But because we know each other, sometimes she'll be like, and she'll be like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna touch you. I'm like, thank you. But if she do, cause she forget, I don't say anything either.
Mm.